Welcome back, everybody. So we have 15 minutes now to share with you about EHCP Plus. I'm not sure whether colleagues from Brent are here or not. I know Tamina from Brent team was potentially going to be held up at a tribunal, but I can see that Jamie from North Links is here. So in terms of EHCP Plus, like I put in the chat earlier, you know, our mission really is about giving that time back to children and young people with SEND. Of course, we are all important, but actually, you know, we are really doing this to help the people kind of, you know, at the end that are receiving the support from us all. And so for us, this is a real big opportunity to kind of, you know, give things a slightly different lens and really focus on how we can make things better for those children and young people. So those of you that work in SEND services, this will be no surprise to you. EHC demand is absolutely soaring. Nationally, we are seeing that number just continue to rise. And we've actually done some analysis projecting that forward. And you can see it's only just going to get more and more of a challenge. So our orange line in this graph is ceased plans. Our kind of teal line is our new plans. And you can see that gap just getting bigger and bigger. As well as that kind of overall demand, I guess as a result of that, we're kind of seeing timeliness collapsing. We're seeing tribunal numbers, you know, increase. We're seeing a workforce that is really stretched and sort of financial pressures building. So this is one of those real kind of pressure pot areas, and kind of to Kat's point as well, I think actually everywhere is experiencing it. You know, it's not like some local authorities are really feeling this and others aren't. I think this pressure is really being felt across the board. And, you know, we've got some of the headlines in the background here. You know, you only have to search, you know, EHCPs, SEND, and there is something like hard hitting in the news. So we know that something needs to change quite significantly, and we really do think that AI is actually a massive game changer here. So it can help us with, you know, freeing up capacity, improving quality, restoring trust. And there are a range of kind of AI tools, different solutions that are out there and different things for the job. But I guess what really, oh, this is my button getting stuck again. I'm so sorry, folks. I've got a sticky key on my keyboard. Just stolen Steph's under there. So EHCP Plus is the only solution that combines both the use of a generative AI tool and a comprehensive program of support and engagement around it. As well as a kind of national community of practice that is really driving towards that kind of national SEND agenda. And the reason we've been really conscious about having all those parts is we think they're all key to success. So yes, we need the generative AI tool, but we need to make sure we've got all the right groups of people involved. We've engaged all of the right stakeholders. We've built that confidence. We've built that understanding. And then we're sharing that learning and sharing it across the kind of network and across our local authorities. So in terms of kind of council outcomes with EHCP Plus, I think we can all recognise where generative AI really helps us with saving time. So in this use case, the generative AI is being used to draft an education, health and care plan. That, without the use of AI, kind of takes workers probably between 6 to 8 hours, and that does vary. You know, there are obviously more simple ones that take less and more complex ones that take more, but on the whole, you know, about 6 to 8 hours. And through using these tools, you can really reduce that time down, you know, to sort of less than an hour, because the tool is doing that heavy lifting of the kind of drafting and the sort of first go at it. The bit that I think is really interesting and I'm really sort of excited about is the bit around consistency and quality. So yes, it's great that we can save lots of time, but I think one thing that we see and kind of hear a lot is that actually, you know I write differently on a Thursday evening when I'm due a bit of holiday compared to how I might write on the Monday when I come back once I've had that holiday and I'm well rested, let alone how I might write an EHCP, different to Kate, different to John. And so actually for a process that is very much around kind of use of resources and how we allocate those, that kind of consistency and quality is really key. And then the next two are kind of more byproducts. So through that kind of improved efficiency, better plans, we should see stronger compliance with statutory duties. And we should see better relationships and reduce conflict with families and kind of schools, because we're able to spend more time engaging with them, because we're able to produce plans that are kind of much more personalised and kind of in depth in terms of quality. So I will hand over to John from GovMetric in a mo, who will actually show you a very quick whiz through of the tool, but just to kind of let you know what it does. So it is very simple, much the same as our CHC Plus. The worker logs in, they are uploading all of those advice documents. The tool is generating the plan, and then their role is to review and refine that. So John, can I hand over to you just to sort of actually show colleagues the tool in action very quickly?
I was sorry, just literally as you said that, my dog jumped on my shoulder, Emma. So like it's cats and dogs going mental today. So bear with me 1 second because he's currently chewing my arm.
No worries at all.
Bear with me 1 second because what I thought I would do, just because I was watching the sessions this morning and I thought I actually really wanted to like help explain some of the things that we're doing, kind of aligning to what Shelley was saying about the importance of governance, about what Kath was saying about the importance of prototyping and so on. And so, yeah, just in terms of AI first, like what we've built into our application, and some of this has actually come from North Lincolnshire, this first part. So just in terms of governance first, like when you're building a product, we're using agentic AI to actually check the quality of the outputs that are created. And originally, we were just checking it to make sure that the AI was actually doing what it should be doing and not hallucinating. But actually, having listened to what Jamie's team told Lewis, our CTO, we're actually making it twofold now, where it will not only check the AI, and it will do that multiple times until it's happy, it will now actually also check the council's own quality assurance checklist. And that means that not only are we making sure it's not hallucinating, we're actually making sure that it actually adheres to the way that the council would check whether a plan was any good or not. And the beauty of the approach that we're taking is that it's actually able to be different from council to council. The other thing that we're doing, and you mentioned some of these things with your work in CHC, Emma, is we're taking a privacy first approach. So whilst all data is in the UK, never used for training, we actually have a process which we think is relatively unique, where not only are we doing all of those things that are not normal, like data in the UK and so on, we're actually tokenizing all personal data. So even though we're doing everything best practice and sharing data with the LLM, we're actually making sure that a person's real name is never actually sent to the LLM, which means that the data is secure and robust as possible. So privacy is first in our approach. Explainability is first. So every salient point that was captured from a speech and language therapist or an educational psychiatrist, they're all captured and they're all referenceable. So everything is explainable from the product itself. Now, because I had no idea how long I was going to take, I actually did the demo in slide format so that I can whiz through it in laser speed. But the key, and to me, the coolest thing in what our technical team's been able to achieve is that the council's own templates, their own style, their own format can all be present inside the plans that are created. And more importantly than that, they can be changed and iterated over time. So if the council decides that actually they want sections C, G, and E to be merged together and relate to one another, they can do that themselves. So really, really localized, really customizable. And one of the benefits of the approach that we've taken means that our application can do EHCPs, but it can also do preparation for adulthood, annual reviews, and more. I cannot tell you how mental my dog is going because I'm speaking on the phone. So any kind of plan. So as you can see here, we've got lots of different types of plans. Sorry, my dog has just fallen off the couch now. It's got prompts where you can go in and you can actually change the prompt. So earlier I commented that agentic AI is very complex to do, and it is actually complex to do. But underneath the hood, we've done all of the really hard agentic AI behaviors, but we're enabling non-technical people to actually come in and change the prompts that say how a plan should be created, which gives you that huge localization. Obviously, the application is designed to be nice and easy to use. So I can go in, I can select a child. So in this case, we're selecting a child, Ollie. That's automatically pulled up his tags. So in this case, it's got autism and sensory processing disorder, but those tags could be anything. So in Brent, they're saying that they might actually use it for the different teams that are processing those different children. As you go down, you can select the document type. So we've already personalized an EHCP for links and for Brent. The person selects the documents that they want to upload. So here we've got, speech and language therapist, medical advice, lots of different documents. We have a proper best practice virus scanner that happens the second any documents are uploaded. And so when you click to generate the document, kind of like when you kick off deep research for, ChatGPT, it actually goes away and has got a little progress bar showing you that it's generating the documents. Now, in this case, I actually took a real EHCP data set and real documents, but they were all anonymized. So I added in a made up person. So that is Yaz. So Yasmin Balik is the little girl that we created an EHCP for. And what you can see is when the EHCP is created, it's like a rich text editor where you can go in, you can export it to Word, you can export it to PDF and all of those things, but you can make changes as you please so that you can make it more like the way you want as a send officer. On the right hand side, we can see the documents and we can see the citations. So that citation stuff is all about the explainability of the content and why and which documents that information came from. Here you can see how the way it's worded. So in this case, we've got section A, it's talking about the child and it's got all those little citations. The final thing I'm going to show you, because I'm trying to whiz through this and make sure Emma stays on time. The final thing I'm going to show you is a video of how this actually manifests itself when you create it as your own local template. So the example that I've got here is Brent. So Brent Council upload their template into the system, and then that template is actually created with all of the content that's come from the AI generated data. So we can see it's got Yaz's name in it. You can see it's got the general information, anything that was provided in any of the documents, like the parents' names and so on, is all populated. We can see section A talks about Yaz's cares and what she's interested in. Then B is talking in all of these different domains, kind of like the CHC example. But in Brent, they have kind of a unique way of dealing with the different sections, and they've done it in a way which actually reflects the reality of how you would like to see the different structures. Like this, these are the needs that someone has. This is the provision that somebody should get for that. And these are the outcomes that we expect as a result of that. So our AI is not just regurgitating all of the content that's come from those different documents. It's outputting it in exactly the same format that the council wants, but it's also linking the relevant parts of things like the needs that are identified with the provision and the outcomes. And it's this hyper localized capability that really we think is going to drive, excellent outcomes in organizations as they go forward. And yeah, to reiterate, this is also the case for any kind of plan. You know, this could be any instance where you take a lot of data and you output a structured document at the end of it. So hopefully that was a really good whistle-stop tour. If you want to talk about EHCP and the product you've just seen, please reach out to Emma. If you want to geek out on AI and send and product and all of that stuff, then please, by all means, reach out to me. So hopefully that's been useful to everybody. And yeah, back to you, Emma.
Thank you so much, John. We'll make sure everybody's got a copy of those slides there. John, very impressive sort of doing that off the cuff, linking to everything that we've been talking about today. So yeah, that was great. So just for a last couple of minutes before we kind of move on, I'm keen to hand over to my colleague Crystal for just a couple of minutes.
Great, thanks, Emma. So now to hear just quickly from Northlinks about how this is actually going in practice. Jamie, are you on the call? I think I saw.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, great. All right. So first question to you, what are you aiming to achieve with EHCP Plus and why?
So Emma and I actually contacted each other or first met quite some time ago now. It's coming up 2 years at a conference in York, I think it was. And this is when we were first exploring how it is that we're going to utilise the staffing structure that we've got with increased pressures. It'll be the same across every local authority when we're talking about cost effectiveness and restructures and transformation and all those keywords. So when we engaged with EHCP Plus, there was a few different aspects of it that we were looking to achieve. We wanted to obviously create more capacity within the team. A lot of the voice that we were hearing from our parents, carers and young people was that direct contact with our caseworkers was quite challenging. You know, the pressures of the statutory work almost overtakes that human contact. So one of the big things that we wanted to do was put more time back into our staff to be able to actually hold those meetings, conversations with our parents, carers, settings, young people, to ensure that the plans are actually reflective of that young person. So I mean, in short, it was around time. You know, it was around time, it was around cost effectiveness, and that was our initial sort of exploration of it. But I guess that John sort of stole me thunder a little bit in that last bit, talking about the quality assurance bit. But that was obviously another massive part, you know, and that came sort of secondary to it as we started to engage in conversations with the EHCP Plus colleagues and Outcomes Matters, you know, around how we don't just utilise it as a single piece of kit, you know, as a single tool. It's sort of embedded within some of our structures to continue to learn and develop. It isn't necessarily about just ensuring that we're a bit more timely with our plans. It's very much around that consistency, that quality. So we've put that within our quality assurance framework, and it'll close that sort of feedback loop by us quality assuring the plans and then putting it back into the system. So it ended up we sort of our initial direction around timeliness and creating more capacity within the team actually then broadened quite significantly into quite a few different aspects.
Great. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then you mentioned this as well, your parent care forum, and I know that you've just hosted a roundtable with them recently. Is there anything that you want to share about how that went?
Yeah, and I don't think it'll come as any big surprise to people around some of the hesitancy from our parents and carers around how information reports are going to be interpreted and how that then is going to be added into a plan. You've already touched upon data security. John mentioned that in just previously around house security. So all of those questions that you would anticipate would come up as concerns were raised. But what it allowed us the opportunity to do was talk about actually how it is embedded within some of our systems and it's used to support our staff. It's not used as an end product, you know, and one of the big things that we've spoken about when we've had our localization sessions are very much around ensuring that there's that human at the other end of it. So our case coordinators, our plan writers, we're starting off with our assessment team. So our assessment team in particular, they'll still be that human behind it. They will use it as a tool. Do you know, they're not creating like they're not sticking it through AI a few times and then sending it out to share. You know, they're going to very much use it as a tool, and as I say, that'll then filter into our quality assurance framework. But the benefits of it is very much. And I think the reassuring aspect, going back to the parent carer section, is very much around the fact that we have been able to localize it to what it is that we require. And what our expectations and standards are, you know. So it was an interesting meeting. You know, there were obviously reflections from all parties. However, I feel that the general consensus, once we've been able to open this up a bit further, so our next step around this is we'll be doing a bit of an activity with our parent carers and our forum as well. So during our next roundtable event, we'll be talking a little bit more about how it's actually come as part of like the implementation phase. So we'll be talking about the quality of the plans and what it looks like compared to previous. So we should hopefully have some impacts from there. But yeah, feedback in general was a little bit sort of on the fence initially, but I think when we can tie it into some of our larger strategic priorities in particular, it definitely sort of started to slide towards the positive a little bit more.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Keeping the message focused on how people-centered you're thinking about this process and engaging them along the way. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Jamie, for sharing. Emma, I know we're tight on time. I'll pass back to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jamie. That was really, really great to hear. I have had a look. Tamina hasn't made it yet, so she is obviously still, head down doing mediation stuff. So just to say before we move on, we can, as John mentioned, we'll do another session. Happy to have a chat, show you the tool at any point. And we will be putting on a kind of specific webinar in maybe a few weeks' time as well. So yeah, big thank you, everybody.